You have no voicemail. Press 9 for an outside line. I do not understand that function. You have no voicemail. Press 9 for an outside line. You have I do not understand. You have no voicemail. I do not understand that function. You have no voicemail. Press 9 for an outside line.
Silvio's curatorial bonanza.
I'd like to place an order, please.
Have you ordered from us before?
Yes, I think so. We have an account number.
Okay, good. That saves me a lot of paperwork. What's the account number?
BH119K.
BH119... BH119K? Beach Hill? Are you serious?
That's right. I'm the new deputy curator, Nancy Drew.
Well, whoop-de-doo, it's Nancy Drew. But Silvio's curatorial bonanza no longer does business with Beach Hill. I've sent all 6 of the outstanding invoices to a collection agency. And you jokers won't get another packing peanut out of Silvio Jr. ever. Do not call here again.
I need to find another piece. There, now I can start putting this together. That's done.
How may I help you?
Hi, I'm Nancy Drew, the new deputy curator over at Beach Hill.
So, you're Joanna Riggs' newest pirate in training. How does it feel to join the ranks with the modern-day conquistadors?
I beg your pardon, but how does a deputy curator become a pirate in your book?
You had better brush up on your history, young lady. When the Spanish explorers invaded Mexico, they became known as the conquistadors, or conquerors. They robbed the indigenous peoples of their wealth, not just their gold, but their artwork, their sacred objects. Anything they did not steal, they burned to the ground.
Alejandro, I understand that many crimes were committed in the name of exploration, but that was hundreds of years ago. What does this have to do with Beach Hill?
There is more. In the 19th century, archaeologists discovered the ruins of ancient civilizations predating even the Aztecs. Many of the dig sites were robbed, and the stolen artifacts were sold off to art museums and collectors around the world. Today, finally, it is illegal among most civilized nations to remove an artifact from its native country. But sadly, there are thousands of precious antiquities with highly questionable provenance floating around the Western world.
But Joanna only wants to display this artwork, to celebrate it, so the public will be able to enjoy it and learn about your people's great talents and achievements.
If the American public wants to see our art, they should come to Mexico.
Is there any way to identify the stolen artifacts?
An artifact's provenance is the story of its origin and ownership. For example, how it made its way from a temple at Chichen Itza to a museum in Washington, D.C. If the artifact's provenance reveals that it has been stolen, then that artifact must be returned to the country of its origin.
Then the relics at Beach Hill must all be legitimate, right?
No, not at all. Provenance documents are often tampered with or forged to cover up the theft. Because of this, thefts continue and a great deal of art is moved on the black market, even today. Unethical art dealers and greedy museum curators do nothing to stop this.
Are you suggesting Beach Hill is involved in these kinds of misdealings?
If Joanna Riggs or that overstuffed pillowhead Sinclair had any decency, they would take measures to see that all Maya artifacts were returned to Mexico at once where they belong.
Well, I think I'll have to chew on some of these issues for a while, Alejandro. In the meantime, I do need you to sign off on these changes to the loan agreement for the monolith. Do you mind?
I am still not happy that such a rare find will have its debut exhibition on American soil. But in my country too, there are people for whom money talks. I will take those documents now.
I guess I should give him the contract.
Thank you. I have some business with Joanna at the museum later, so I will return the contract to her then, after I have looked it over.
Actually, Alejandro, I think I'm supposed to take them back to Joanna myself.
You may consider your mission accomplished.
Well, okay then.
Goodbye.
It's about time! Oh, my fears are like maggots infesting my poor old carcass. Want a cookie? They're from Oaxaca.
Thanks, but I'm trying to cut back. Now, what's going on?
The art world is being ransacked, Nancy. Prudence Rutherford, a major patron of the arts, had her fire ruby necklace stolen from her villa in Topeka. 2 weeks later, a whole display case full of rare Maya artifacts was heisted from a museum in New Mexico.
Do you think there's a connection between the two thefts?
Who knows? I'm just telling you, this community, our friends and colleagues, my people are being systematically trounced by thugs. Who's to say Beach Hill won't be next? You've got to do something.
Does Joanna share your concerns?
I've urged Joanna to approach the board about making some security upgrades, but she just keeps saying that the timing isn't right to ask for money.
I understand your concern, but what can I do to help?
We need your eagle eyes. We need your bat ears. We need you to sniff out the stink of trouble.
I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I'm just a detective, you know. I'm not bionic.
Don't play modest mouse with me.
Okay, no more flattery. Hey, that's an interesting piece, there by your desk. Something tells me it's not a Maya artifact.
How about that rubber shark? The artist's name is Poppy Dada. She's a teenager in South Dakota. The art world is going bananas over her stuff. I'll unload that one for some serious dinero.
Is Poppy Dada her real name?
I don't know.
Joanna says you performed an act of wizardry in helping Beach Hill acquire the Pacal carving.
Getting those provenance docs together was a pig and a half. Oh, they're on the up and up, I assure you. But to have been at the height of my career back before the crackdown, those were the days.
What crackdown?
Maybe sometime I'll tell you a sad story I call How Mexico Lost Its Sense of Humor. Not today, though, Nancy.
When you sell a piece of art, what kind of commission do you get?
Standard, 10%. It's no king's ransom, unless, of course, you sell something for $1 million. Too bad I'm not allowed to put that monolith on the market, huh?
Alejandro says you're unethical, a modern-day conquistador, that you're robbing Mexico of its cultural history.
And I say Alejandro is the real bully of the playground, a lunch money extortionist who loves nothing more than to see the other boys and girls go hungry.
I'd better get going.
Keep up the good work.
Good thing Franklin gave me the museum key.
Come in. How are the tasks coming along?
Why did you become a museum curator?
I became a curator because I want to help make artifacts available to as many people as possible. That's all that matters, isn't it? Unless you're Alejandro Del Rio.
Do you think Alejandro would go to extreme measures, like stealing, to reclaim Mexico's artifacts?
Who knows?
I've got work to do.
Carpe diem.
You have no voice.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose.
May I speak to Franklin Rose, please?
Who may I say is calling?
This is Nancy Drew.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, great to hear from you. How's the internship treating you? Are Joanna and Henrik showing you the ropes?
So far, so good, I think. There's a lot of work to do before we launch this exhibit, but somehow we'll pull it off.
Glad to hear you're settling in. I'm off to a meeting, but feel free to call me if you have any questions.
I'm sure everything's going to be smooth sailing, Mr. Rose.
Bye, kiddo.
Beach Hill's been hit. Sit tight, Nancy. The police are on their way.
I should talk to Joanna before I touch anything.
Come in. Someone has cooked up my worst nightmare and served it to me on a plate.
I'm sorry about the theft, Joanna. It must be a terrible loss for the museum.
That's the understatement of the year.
Did the police find any clues around the display case?
The police took some samples for the crime lab, but they couldn't promise any overnight results. So if you want to put your little magnifying glass up to the scene, it's fine with me.
Great. I'll let you know if I find anything.
Go to it.
I shouldn't be messing around with this without permission.
Come in. Need something?
Have you seen Henrik? I found a piece of paper inside the Pacal display case. It had some glyphs on it and a print of a red hand. I'm hoping he can give me a translation.
What am I, fish food? Henrik's not the only one around here who can read a glyph, you know.
Sorry, Joanna. I thought I was supposed to go to Henrik with all my glyph questions.
The police showed me the note. It said, "The magician suffers yellow death," whatever that means. Apparently, the thief just couldn't come up with the glyphs for "the curator suffers flaming purple disgrace."
I'm curious about the red handprint the thief left. Does it have any significance in Maya culture?
Afraid I can't help you there. What I want to know is what the hand was printed with. It's obviously not finger paint. Why don't you do a little analysis on it in the lab?
I haven't seen Henrik since the theft. Where do you think he could be?
Who knows?
Okay, I've got a graph of the chemical used for the handprint. Now I've got to match it up with a known substance. That's it! I should take the handprint with me. According to this chart, Hg stands for Mercury.
Come in. Need something?
I've got work to do.
Semper ubi sub ubi.
S S stands for sulfur. So the handprint was made from mercury and sulfur.
Come in. Need something?
I did the chemical analysis you suggested. That red hand was printed with a compound containing mercury and sulfur. Does that mean anything to you?
Sure, cinnabar. The Maya would rub it into their most important carvings to add definition to the artist's lines.
Where would a person get a supply of cinnabar?
We use cinnabar here at the museum the same way the Maya did, to keep things as authentic as possible. Henrik orders those kinds of supplies, but we've been out of stock for quite a while. The last I heard, there was some kind of holdup with the distributor.
I've got work to do.
Carpe diem.
Hello?
Hey, Bess, it's me, Nancy. What's new?
It's pouring rain. George and I are in the middle of a heated game of Go Fish, and I'm winning.
Don't believe a word she says, Nancy. Last hand, I made mincemeat out of her.
Anyway, we don't want to make you homesick. How's the internship going?
Everything was going great until someone broke into a display case and stole one of the museum's most valuable artifacts, a jade carving of King Pacal.
Who was King Pacal?
He's considered one of the great Maya rulers. He reigned at the height of the Maya Civilization.
So what happened?
Well, apparently the civilization was never quite the same after he died.
No, silly, with the theft. What happened with the theft?
Who are your suspects?
Do you have any clues?
Easy, ladies. Let's just say that so far, I have more questions than I do answers. But don't worry, I'm on the case.
There goes your low-key internship.
Honestly, Nancy, it never will cease to amaze me how one girl can cross paths with so much trouble.
I don't know what to make of Alejandro del Rio, the attaché to the Mexican consulate.
What's his connection to Beach Hill?
Right now, he's negotiating the monolith loan agreement between Mexico and the museum.
And what's your confusion? Something to do with dashing good looks, I hope.
Well, he is a little bit handsome, but he also seems very angry about all the Mexican antiquities his country has lost over the years.
How have they been lost?
They've been taken by explorers and archaeologists and smugglers. I guess the laws have only recently changed to protect Mexico's rights to its own antiquities.
Well, it sounds like he has a legitimate gripe.
Yes, but I got the feeling he would do just about anything to get an artifact returned to Mexico.
What do you mean, anything?
That's what I'm not sure of.
Well, let's hope he's just a big talker and not a bona fide vigilante.
Have you seen anything in the papers about Beach Hill getting the deal with Mexico to display the Palenque monolith?
The who?
The monolith. It's a giant block of stone recently excavated from a cave near Palenque in Mexico. Apparently, it's a very big deal. They think it's 1,500 years old.
So, have you seen it? This, monolith?
Yeah, it's humongous. Must weigh a ton.
Like how big? As big as a refrigerator?
Maybe Bigfoot's refrigerator.
Sorry, Nancy, but how would a person tell this monolith apart from, say, some other big rock?
Well, for one thing, it has Maya glyphs carved into it.
Glyphs?
Pictures that represent words or ideas, also known as logographs. Joanna says the glyphs might be a message from King Pacal.
What kind of message?
We don't know yet. Henrik Vanderheun, Beach Hill's epigrapher, is working on a translation.